Hello, welcome to PhysioFit Strength Training for Runners. Welcome my lovely assistant Orion. Hi. So today we're going to be progressing some of the exercises from the first video. My intention is to progress regularly, which means every session I'm going to show you a progression. It does not mean I'm going to progress every exercise, but every exercise routine will have at least one progression. And I'll talk about those in the video. So we are going to start today with some, before we start, it's important to follow along. So I'm going to have Orion do the speed at which it should be done. A lot of these movements are deliberate and controlled. They're not meant to go fast, including the foam rolling, which we'll start with now. So Orion's going to sit up on the foam roller and cross the right foot over left knee and start rolling. These rolling motions will be for 30 seconds. The reason why I'm using foam rolling is because when I looked into research on things like this, one of the most effective ways to get the tissue warmed up is foam rolling. I remember reading one study that talked about for up to 30 or 45 minutes, the tissue is warmed up and pliable and ready to be exercised. Okay, Ryan, you can switch. And I don't like static stretching. So a lot of times there are still some old school runners out there who would learn stretching. And there's people out there who believe stretching will help to prevent injuries. There was a meta-analysis, actually several meta-analyses that were performed. A meta-analysis is where they take all the research studies and then they use that to find good studies and not good studies, and then they create some end conclusions. Okay, Ryan, you can switch to your hamstring. So Orion is going through individual legs here, and remember with the hamstring, you want to have a time where you're turning your toe in, you want your toe straight up, and you want your toe turned out. Go ahead and turn it up, Orion. Good, and then turn it out. So that just gets the different parts of the hamstring, different areas of it. There's other ways you can do it too, including adjusting the foam roller, which I'll do on another day. Okay, Ryan, switch. So back to the meta-analysis. The meta-analysis disproved the idea that stretching reduces injury rates. It does not. There is no data whatsoever that's, well, I shouldn't say that. If there is data, it's not very good data that says stretching reduces injuries. Now, if you like to stretch, that's great. Do it at the end of your run, not at the beginning of the run. There's other reasons behind that methodology. Okay, Ryan, switch to your thigh. So you're going to lay on your stomach next. So the other reason people like to stretch, or the other reason why I don't like people to stretch, is that when you do something slow and deliberate, what you're doing is you're affecting your Golgi tendon organs, and you're also affecting your muscle spindles. These are nerve sensors inside the muscles and tendons that alert our brain what's going on. So they become dulled by static stretching. Go ahead and switch legs, Ryan. And Ryan, just make sure you're doing the different angles. It's about 10 seconds per position. So you can even count 10, 9, 8 kind of thing. Because I'm talking in case you couldn't tell. So static stretching, it will diminish your responsiveness. And this is sometimes why people have hamstring injuries. There's a whole slew of other reasons, including weaknesses, but static stretching is not the most effective tool. If you are going to do some stretching statically, limit it in time frame to just, a 10-second type of thing. Okay, Ryan, you're going to switch onto your calf muscles next. But if it were up to me, I wouldn't have you static stretching, bottom line. So similar to the hamstring, when we're doing the foam rolling for the calf muscles, we have to make sure that we turn the toe in, and we have to make sure we turn the toe out. Notice that Orion has one foot on top of the other. Sometimes this is a little too much pressure for people, and when it's too much pressure, then you just do both legs at the same time. Okay, switch legs, Ryan. So at the start of every class, we're going to do foam rolling for 5 minutes. If you're someone who likes to foam roll a little bit more, just add time onto there. So I'm going for approximately 30 seconds per region. And if you want to do more, of course, that's okay. I do like foam rolling even before people go out for their runs themselves. And I have a video on the website, instructional video, just a brief one talking about some different things. And I plan to do that on future topics. There we go. Okay, we're gonna do marching next. So Ryan's gonna stand up and she's gonna go to the edge of the screen here and she's gonna start with slow motion marching. So the point of this is also to start to warm up. This is specific for runners. I don't use this for all athletes, but this is a big one I use in the clinic. So her form is excellent. She is going in slow motion, which is going to require more work on her balance while she's doing it. And I just thought of something that we'll do next time. You guys don't need to know that, it just popped in my head. You can tell I'm really good at class instructions. Anyways, so Ryan's doing slow motion marching and she also is adding the reciprocal arm movements. This is motor patterning to help with runners because this is the type of movement you should be doing. Now she's doing a reach across the body. This one is going to challenge some people's balance. Her speed again is perfect, so she has a pause at the top. Her torso is straight up and down. She's not leaning forward at all. A little bit that time. And that rotation is thoracic rotation. And what happens when you run is your thoracic spine is supposed to rotate. It goes in the opposite direction of your pelvis. This also happens when we walk, by the way. And a lot of people, due to the sedentary lifestyle we have in America, we tend to lose our thoracic rotation and the combination of hip rotation with thoracic rotation. Next one is going to be the prisoner guard position, or prisoner position. So Ryan is placing her hands at the back of her head, and this causes thoracic extension. So if you go back and look at the video from this one to the next one, or this one to the previous one rather, then you'll see that her upper back is straighter now. So by putting the hands up and the elbows back slightly, it encourages thoracic rotation. One of the most common things runners do is slouch. Slouchy equals ouchy. Also, slouchy reduces your lung capacity, so you're not able to take a big inhalations and exhalations that you want to when you're running, so it decreases your performance. And the last one is a march into a single leg deadlift position. This one is a tricky one for coordination, and it's again challenging balance. I like this one also because when you're in the deadlift position, you're engaging your hamstring muscle. Orion's technique is excellent, so when she's kicking back, she's hip hinging. She's using her hips to do the movement. She's not flexing her spine. She's not rounding her spine. So her back stays straight as she reaches forward with the hand. And then the coordination to bring that leg back up, challenging the balance, working on the stability in the ankle foot area. And it's also a big one for the glutes and hamstrings, again, for that single leg deadlift position. Very good. So the next thing Orion's going to do is lie down on the mat. So the last time, the first video, I forgot to do 2 sets. So today we're going to do 3 bridges holding for 30 seconds each. So Ryan's going to lift up and hold. So in this position from the side, we're looking at her shoulders, her hips, and her knees are in a straight line. Go ahead and lift your arms in the air. Last time I had people hold their arms up. This takes the stability of the upper back away and forces you to use more core, lower back, glutes, and hamstring muscles. So 30 seconds is a long time. It seems like it should be easy, but it's really not. Okay, Ryan, you can go down. Take a short pause. Short pause to me means 5-10 seconds maximum, and then go ahead and go back up. So what I concentrate, or what I cue people in the clinic, is to make sure the butt doesn't sag. So if you're noticing that you're having a hard time keeping your butt up, just drop your hands back down to the sides again. And another thing that happens is people will get a cramp in the hamstring area. So if you're getting some cramping in your hamstrings, then what that means is your feet are too far away from your body, or you're trying to use your hamstring instead of your butt muscles. And some people even feel some back muscles here. Okay, Ryan, you can go down. Take a short rest. So this is going to be the third and final bridge, and then we're going to do another exercise and come back to the bridges. Okay, go ahead, Ryan. So she's lifting up and holding for 30 seconds. A little cue there also. Ryan, can you lift your toes slightly? So lifting the toes up puts the weight back on the heels, and that will automatically shift some muscle activation back to the hamstring glute area. Once again, if you're feeling a lot in your hamstrings, Ryan, walk your feet back a touch. Just move your feet back towards your butt a little bit, and then lift your toes a little bit. Good. Sometimes doing this too far, you'll feel tightness in the front of your thighs, and that just means you're not flexible there. Okay, Ryan, come on down. So now we're going to do the, stay on your back. You're going to have your knees bent. Good. Bring your right leg out to the side. Good. And then bring it back. And she has her hands on her pelvis. Do 10 of them for me, Ryan. So she has her hands on her pelvis. This is to just make sure there's no movement anywhere other than the leg. So she's bracing in her core area. So she's actually intentionally tensing up and not letting anything move other than that right leg. So after 10 repetitions on the right side, we're going to do the left side. So I had mentioned before, for those of you who have bands at home, you can put the bands above your knees. I will eventually teach that and show it with Orion, but today that's not one of my progressions. So we're just going to continue with this one. If you're finding this is really just too easy, again, put your hands in the air. Go ahead. And when you put your hands in the air, you start to lose that stability again, so you're not able to brace as well. And if you really want a challenge in that position, you can hold a weight as well, which we'll do next time. So I lied, we are going to progress it. So after 10 repetitions, Orion's going to go back to the bridge. So when we do this next bridge, I'm going to have Orion start with her hands on the ground, and she's just going to do a normal bridge and hold. But this time, she's going to bring her left knee towards her chest and then hold. So I'm going to hold this time for 10 seconds, and then we'll switch legs. And on the switch, you're going to try to keep your butt up. So go ahead and switch. Good. So you notice the position of her leg. I'm going to have her switch again. So she's keeping her knee bent to 90 degrees, her ankle bent to 90 degrees, and she's also flexed at 90 degrees at the hip. Switch. And each time both feet are touching the ground, you'll notice that she resets herself. So she pushes back up into a higher bridge position. Go ahead, switch. That's just to reset, because a lot of times when you're doing this, your butt will sag down a little bit. If you're able to prevent it, that's great, but just make sure, go ahead and switch. When both feet are touching the ground, you press up the pelvis towards the sky into that bridge position. We're going to do it 2 more times on each leg. Switch. Also, people will notice that their pelvis wants to rotate, and when it's feeling like it's going to twist a little bit on you, switch. It generally means that side, that's the stability side. So in this case, it's her left side. So if she is rotating here, it means she's has weakness on that left side. Go ahead and switch. It doesn't mean the glutes, though. It could be the deep core muscles, like the psoas, the quadratus lumborum, the iliacus, those muscles that help to stabilize the pelvis itself. Good. Did you finish both of them? Yeah. Grab the kettlebell behind you. Going to hold it in one hand. Actually, hold it in both hands, we'll start with. So this is a progression now. So she's got the weight up in her hands. This could be any form of weight. So if you have a dumbbell at home, a kettlebell at home, if you don't, just grab a 5-pound bag of sugar. Go ahead, Ryan. And she's going to bring her knee out to the side. So we're going to do 10 repetitions of the knee out to the side. Bring the weight over your forehead and a little bit more. There. So when you bring the weight over your head, it automatically forces you to engage more of your abdominal muscles, your core muscles. So this is a way to progress this exercise and Still doing the exact same movement in the lower half, but by taking a weight and holding it over your forehead, it makes it a little more challenging. Again, what I'm looking at is to make sure nothing moves except that leg. So no pelvis movement, no rotation of the torso, upper body stays solid. She's going to do 10 repetitions and then switch legs. When I notice Orion, she has a little bit of wiggle when she's going this way. That would be the right side that's lacking stability. So that is better, good correction. So as that left leg's going out, she's relying on the right side to be stable to control the movement. So after 10 repetitions, Orion is going to stand up. And today, one of the progressions we're going to do is we're going to use a weight vest. And I'm choosing a weight vest for a couple reasons. Number one, I'm choosing it because most people have a backpack at home. So if you have a backpack at home, you can put things in the backpack to make weight. And this is I believe a 10, 12, or 15 pound weight vest that she has on. And so at home, what you're going to do is get in an athletic position, shift your body weight to your left, good, and then she's going to do lateral toe taps. So remember with this one, we're trying not to move anything on that left side. It's just the right side moving. A lot of people will shift their weight towards the right, so they'll get kind of teetering back and forth. With this one, I want very much controlled movement, stable on the left, excellent. So with a weight vest or a backpack, you can throw books in there. You can throw, again, a bag of sugar, 5-pound bag of flour, something like that to increase weight holding onto a backpack. It's a way to load that leg a little bit more. So I like one-legged exercises for runners because you guys land on one leg every time you run, every step you take. So the stronger both legs are individually, the better. And this one is one of my favorite exercises, and it's a very common one when I did the running cohort. This is one of the most commonly used exercises for the runners. Orion's going to grab the kettlebell and go back to the chair, and we're going to start with just a regular goblet squat. So now we've added the weight vest, and she has a weight in her hand, and she's just going to sit down and stand up. With this, I want just barely touching the butt and then standing up. Notice the position of her knees. They're coming out towards her first and second toe. By sitting backwards in the chair, the knees are well behind the toes. I'm not a therapist that believes you should never have your knees come out of the toes, but for this particular movement, that's what I'm looking for. I want the hip hinging. I want the butt going backwards, touching the chair, and then coming up. After 10 repetitions, she's going to go back and do the lateral toe taps, holding the weight. So athletic position, stick knees, yep, good, go. So stick your butt back, bend your knees is what I was trying to say. So now we just added the weight vest and again a weight just to make it a little bit more challenging. Last time we did it with just the weight, now we're adding the weight vest. The other reason I like weight vests, and this is specifically for women, is because women runners often will develop osteoporosis or osteopenia, where they have a weakening of the bone, and then osteoporosis literally means holes in the bone, so porous, holes in the bone. And so you want to have axial loading, which means weight coming down through the spine, hips, pelvis area. So a weight vest is a great way to do that. We offer a program here where we work with women, and one of my favorite stories to tell about that is we had a woman that started with a lift of 10 pounds, and on the last day of the class, she lifted 100 pounds, and it was a deadlift, so it was from the floor. She was in her mid to late 60s, which is kind of cool too. So back to the goblet squats, and this time staggered stance. So now Orion is placing her right foot slightly in front of her left foot, holding the weight at her chest, just like normal for a goblet squat, and now she's sitting down and standing up. Remember from the last video that by staggering your stance, you're making that left leg do more work. So that right leg coming out in front, it's still able to help a little bit, 20-30% kind of help. and the the left leg switches the load, so it's doing 60, 70% of the load, or 70, 80%, whatever the other percentage was. So after 10 repetitions, Orion's gonna switch back and do the right leg. So the osteoporosis, back to the weight vest idea, we have women and of all ages doing a program, but in the clinic, I noticed that when I had 3 specific women that came in, they were all in their late 70s to early 80s, and they didn't have the greatest posture. They had that kyphosis, that rounding back. You'll see, and it's specifically women. It does happen to men too, but it's more common in women. And 3 out of 3 women, when I put the weight vest on them, stood up taller. There's something about the body's natural ability to get straighter when it's carrying a load like that. And the first woman, she called back after she left and called me up and asked me to get a weight vest for her because she was so amazed at how straighter she was. Sorry, just a side tangent there. Go back to the exercise. Yes, hold the weight. So we're going to do the floor star now. So this is where you start in the athletic position, and Orion's going to tap her foot out to the side like that lateral toe tap, but then drive the knee up. Good. And then back at the diagonal. Good. And then to the curtsy. Good. So again, we've progressed these exercises today because she has a weight vest on and she's also holding a kettlebell. So this is going to make it a little bit more work. The reason why I'm showing you this is that if you don't have a weight vest, you can just hold on to something in your hands. If you don't have a dumbbell but you have a backpack, you can use a weight vest. And if you have both, you can do both. But the key with this is we're trying to do 5 repetitions in these different directions and then switching legs. And so it's going to be 15 reps right in a row. And so you want to just make sure that you're not doing it to the point where you're A, hurting yourself, or B, that you can't complete it successfully. So the progression should be gradual and slow. Start with the first day, and then from there, we'll start to progress how to do it. This is also challenging her balance because bringing that knee up, driving that knee up in the air, it throws the balance off a little bit, which makes the footwork a little bit harder. So we'll do 5 repetitions, and then we're going to go to the the toe walking next. Another little suggestion here, when you're starting out, do a little movement out to the side so you get the patterning down. It's also a little bit easier with the balance. As you gain strength and coordination, then start to reach out further and further. Set it down, yep. And we'll go to the side and we'll start on knee straight toe walking. So remember with this, we're trying to keep the heels up as high as we can, and the steps are deliberate. And I'm looking for anywhere from 15 to 20 steps in a row, then turn around and go back the other way. Now again, today we've progressed it because she's still wearing that weight vest. So for some of you who may find it's difficult to stay up on your heels, up on your toes with your heels up, bent knees around, then take the weight vest off again. So remember from the first video also that this is the soleus muscle that she's doing now with the knees bent. This is called the creeper walk. And what she's doing is contracting the soleus, and the soleus is a muscle that takes 67% of the load at contact. And then she's going to go back to that floor star, and we'll do another set of 5 on each leg in all 3 positions. Nope, drive the knee up. Good? Good. So that soleus muscle is a major player for runners, and near the soleus muscle is also your flexor digitorum brevis and your posterior tibialis. The posterior tibialis tendon goes right to the arch of the foot, and your flexor digitorum longus is often sore because you have too much cushion in your shoes, or you have not worked your calf muscles and feet muscles enough. It is probably the most common thing that runners don't do. I don't know how to say that properly. It's what runners don't do, is they don't strengthen their foot and calf muscles, even though that's the thing that's taking all the force when you land. So a lot of runners have gone to do exercises for their knees or for their hips or their low back, and they forget to do the most important muscle groups, which are the ones in your foot. So we're going to be exploring more exercises in this program to strengthen the foot. And obviously these toe walking is to strengthen the calf and prepare you to handle loads much better. And strength training is to reduce injuries. So earlier I had mentioned how stretching does not. Well, strength training does. There's a lot of research on strength training and the benefits of it for injury prevention. And most certainly with runners, it not only helps to prevent injuries, but it also improves performance, meaning you run faster and longer and more efficiently. Okay, so we're going to do another round of toe walking. Very good. So I have posted on our website the foam rolling instructional video. One of the therapists who works with me named Sarah Avery, she is the only medical therapeutic yoga certified practitioner in this area. She went away for special training for this. And she's putting together yoga poses for the runner. So you can see straight ahead our name, our phone number is 518-306-1225. physiofitpt@gmail.com is my email. physiofitpt.com is the website. I will be posting regular instructional videos. These will be 3 to 5 minutes maximum, and they will go over a range of topics. We're going to get more specific about each of these exercises. So if you're confused what it should look like, the videos will have that. In addition, they will also have the most common mistakes and errors that people make and how to correct them. And I also plan to run videos on typical runners' injuries, including plantar fasciitis, hip pain, knee pain, IT band syndrome, all the good ones. So if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact me. I'm happy to share what I know, and I hope these exercises are fun, and I hope I'm not too distracting when I talk. Bye-bye.